All right. So, wow. Anyone else just blown away by what's happening in AI right now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Things are moving so fast.
I mean, it seems like every single day something crazy is happening.
Totally.
And we've got a really fascinating story today. Out of China, this company, DeepSeek, they're kind of like a startup, and they just kind of came out of nowhere
Yeah, they did.
with this language model. It's called DeepSeek R1.
Mm.
And it's gotten a lot of attention. I mean, we've even seen it in like the mainstream press recently.
Yeah.
And basically it's performing as well as OpenAI's ChatGPT, the one that's been like everywhere. But but here's the thing.
Hmm.
They're doing it with way fewer resources, like way less. Like
What?
they used 2,000 chips for theirs
Mm.
and spent under $6 million, which sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But to put that into perspective, the American models, they're using over 100,000 chips and costing like $100 million.
I mean, it's $100 million.
Yeah, it's wild. So today, we're going to deep dive into how DeepSeek pulled this off.
Yeah.
Um, are they like, kind of like the David, taking on these big AI Goliaths?
Mm.
And we're going to explore, does this mean anything for the American AI industry? Is this a sign that China might be sort of making moves to, dominate the AI world?
Yeah, really big questions.
Big questions.
I mean, I think what's remarkable right off the bat is that they, managed to achieve this despite those U.S. export controls on the really, really high-end chips.
Yeah.
So they're working with Nvidia chips, but the ones that are specifically made for the Chinese market.
Okay.
And we know that those are intentionally less powerful than the top-of-the-line chips, right?
Hmm.
But that's what makes this so ingenious. I mean, they've essentially, totally revamped their entire training process, figured out how to make these chips that are less powerful, just, make them perform at their absolute max.
So it's not just about like, oh, we've got the most powerful chips.
Right.
It's how you use them.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important takeaway for, anyone who's involved in technology is sometimes it's not about having the shiniest, newest thing.
Yeah,
It's about knowing how to really use what you have to the fullest.
absolutely.
Now, this chain of thought reasoning method that they use, can you explain that a little more? That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine, you're trying to work out a problem. It's a complex one. You need to solve it.
Huh.
So rather than listing out every single tiny step, DeepSeek R1, what it does is it sort of skips ahead.
Doing.
It finds the most efficient path straight to the answer.
Okay.
It's like cutting through all the extra noise and getting straight to the point.
Interesting.
And by doing that, that's how they reduce how much computing time is needed without actually making the answers less accurate.
So it's about being efficient, but also accurate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love that. Now, what I find really interesting is that they also released 6 smaller versions of R1. Some of these are so small you can run them on a laptop.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, what does that mean for the future of AI? AI research. Having something so accessible.
I think, this could be a complete game changer, to be honest. Think of all the researchers, developers out there, the people who don't have access to these huge computing systems.
Yeah.
This could be a way for everyone to participate,
Yeah.
Especially, I think about the Global South. This quote, Han-Cheng Cao, who's an assistant professor at Emory, he called this a truly equalizing breakthrough, which I think really captures it.
Yeah, that's a really powerful statement.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It could make it so that anyone, anywhere can contribute to AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really exciting. Now, DeepSeek's founder, Liang Wenfeng, he seems like a real visionary.
Yeah.
I mean, his background is in engineering. He's, started a hedge fund. He's clearly someone who's, kind of looking ahead all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think, that looking ahead part, that's really key to this whole story.
Okay.
Because what he did was he actually stockpiled those Nvidia A100 chips.
Mm.
Remember those really powerful ones?
Uh-huh.
He did this before the U.S. sanctions even came in,
Why?
And we're talking somewhere between 10,000 and 50,000 of these units that you can't even get anymore.
That's a lot of chips.
And that, combined with, how they figured out to use these lower power chips so well,
Yeah.
that's how they managed to develop R1.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is you don't necessarily need to have these unlimited resources to actually be really competitive in the AI world, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think that raises some big questions.
Okay.
Is DeepSeek just a one-off, success story? Or is this a sign of a bigger shift happening, in the whole global AI landscape?
Mm.
What are these U.S. export controls really doing? Are they maybe even accidentally helping innovation in China? And, the big question, could this like totally change who's in charge in the AI market?
Those are really important questions.
Hmm.
It's so interesting to think about this tiny little startup going up against these giants.
Absolutely.
So today we've been talking about DeepSeek, this really, ambitious startup that's created this incredibly efficient AI model.
Yeah.
I mean, its potential to really make AI research and development available to so many more people, especially those who maybe don't have a ton of resources. That's huge.
Yeah, totally.
And, we've thought about what this could mean for the global AI landscape. I mean, it's really fascinating.
Yeah, and I think the coolest part is, their success, it could actually inspire a whole bunch of new innovation.
Okay.
Like maybe instead of just trying to build these bigger and bigger, more powerful models, we should be thinking about how to make AI more accessible and useful for everyone.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, think of what we could do.
I mean, that's a really thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
Could DeepSeek's story lead to a future where AI is more collaborative, more
Mhm.
equitable? You know, these are the questions we need to ask as we move forward with this technology, which is just, changing so rapidly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's an exciting time, even if it's a little bit scary too.
Yeah, totally.
Well, on that note, thanks for tuning in to our deep dive on DeepSeek. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about them in the future.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to keep an eye on them for sure.